Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to today's explainer, where we're going to unpack a highly emotional and honestly incredibly common parenting challenge. Because let's face it, parenting is literally the only job out there where you're expected to be a dietitian, a psychologist, and a mind reader all before breakfast, right? So, today we're building a real practical roadmap for exactly what to do when your kid comes up to you and says, "I need to lose weight." Hearing those words as a parent, it can instantly trigger this massive wave of panic. But don't worry, we're going to walk through a structured, totally evidence-based approach to protect your child's growth, dodge the harms of dieting, and just make sure they feel totally safe and supported.
Picture this. You're sitting at the kitchen table, maybe you're looking over some math homework or just finishing up dinner, and boom, out of nowhere, your child drops this incredibly loaded statement, "I need to lose weight." It's just entirely jarring. Your immediate instinct, which, by the way, is completely driven by love and just wanting to protect them from pain, is to jump right in and fix it. You either want to shut down that insecurity on the spot, or on the flip side, you want to help them achieve whatever goal they think is going to make them happy. But reacting purely on that immediate knee-jerk internal panic, that can actually steer this whole conversation right off a cliff.
And because of that panic, we parents typically default to one of two extremes. The first is immediate reassurance, saying, "No, you don't, honey, you look perfectly fine." Now, the risk here is that it completely dismisses their distress, and it might even blind you to an emerging eating disorder. The other extreme is immediate action, saying something like, "Okay, well, we'll start a diet tomorrow." And wow, this is equally dangerous. Jumping into unsupervised weight loss can trigger unsafe restriction, really reinforce body shame, and totally wreck their relationship with food. The truth is, both of these extremes completely miss the real question here.
So, what is the real question? Well, I want you to just pause for a second and consider what actually triggered this statement. Like, why does your child suddenly believe weight loss is the answer right now? Are they just expressing a fleeting moment of insecurity after scrolling past some highly edited social media post? Are they facing some awful bullying at school? Is there a big sports weigh-in coming up? Or are they actually showing early signs of a genuine medical concern? You simply can't answer any of these questions if you just shut the whole conversation down with a quick dismissal or a crash diet.
All right. Before we get into exactly how to respond, let's look at Section 1. Children are not small adults, and why adult weight loss rules just don't apply. You see, you can't just take an adult diet plan and copy-paste it onto a growing kid. It doesn't work like that. Children and teenagers are actively growing. They absolutely need sufficient energy, proteins, fats, carbs, and minerals for their brains to develop, their bones to get strong, and their hormones to do what they need to do during puberty. Putting them on a restrictive diet can severely interfere with all of that: their growth, their ability to focus at school, the whole shebang. Because of this totally unique biology, pediatric health measurement is a completely different ballgame. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it frames that measurement. We hear about BMI all the time, right? But for kids and teens ages 2 through 19, BMI is interpreted relative to their age and sex using BMI for age percentiles. It is definitely not the same as the adult categories. And honestly, here's the absolute most important thing to remember. BMI is just a screening tool. It is not some complete clinical diagnosis. You cannot, I repeat, cannot determine a child's health simply by looking at them or staring at a single number. An athletic kid might have a body composition that throws the numbers off. A child in a larger body could be perfectly, completely healthy across all their metrics, while a kid who appears thin might secretly be engaging in incredibly dangerous restrictive eating.
Which brings us to Section 2, the 8-part parent response. This is a safe, structured framework for you to use. Having a step-by-step guide like this is going to be a lifesaver. It helps you slow down that internal panic, avoid those two extremes we talked about earlier, and actually open up a safe, productive dialogue. Let's walk through it together. These first 4 steps cover the incredibly crucial first 5 minutes of the conversation. Step 1, pause and thank them. Literally just take a breath and say, "I am so glad you told me." Don't agree, don't disagree, just thank them. Step 2, ask what triggered it. Try using open questions, something like, "Hey, what happened before you started thinking this?" Step 3, clarify what lose weight actually means to them. Are they picturing skipping meals, following some sketchy influencer's supplement routine, or do they literally just want their clothes to fit a bit differently? Getting to the specific plan they have in their head helps you figure out the level of risk. And step 4, assess their current behavior. Just gently ask if they're already doing things like skipping meals, obsessively counting calories, or maybe exercising through pain.
Let's zoom in a bit on those triggers from step 2, because these are the massive external pressures facing our kids right now. We're talking social media transformations, crazy fitness challenges, heavily edited influencer bodies, sports weight classes, and of course, teasing or bullying. We really have to ask ourselves, are hidden algorithm-driven voices quietly dictating our child's self-worth? Are unrealistic athletic pressures pushing them into rapid, dangerous weight cutting? Nailing down the exact trigger helps you understand the actual problem your child is trying to solve when they drop that "I need to lose weight" bomb.
So, the crucial point is how you handle this next phase. Step 5 is all about separating health from shame. You can tell them, look, we can take your health seriously without ever treating your body as a failure. Step 6, seek pediatric evaluation when it's appropriate. Because avoiding weight stigma absolutely does not mean avoiding evidence-based medical care. Let a clinician look over their growth charts and health history. Step 7 is changing family routines, which we're going to expand on in just a second. And finally, step 8, follow up. You have to check back in a few days later, ask if that feeling is getting stronger or if it's messing with their mood. This is absolutely not a one-and-done conversation.
Okay, moving right along to section 3, redefining family health routines. Here, we focus on the environment, not a target child.
So, if a doctor does actually recommend some behavior changes, the absolute most successful and supportive way to do this is by focusing on the whole household environment. You do not, under any circumstances, create a separate punishment menu for one kid. You support health for everyone. We're talking regular family meals, making sure everyone gets enough sleep, seriously cutting down on diet talk in the house, and keeping nutritious foods accessible for everyone. Your child should never, ever feel like they are publicly identified as the family problem. And actually, this slide brilliantly highlights a massive mindset shift families need to make about exercise. Over on one side, we have enjoyable movement. This is the good stuff. Walking, dancing, swimming, active play, things that build strength, boost your mood, and bring people together. But on the other side, we have the incredibly toxic concept of earning food. Food should never be treated as a reward for being thin or a debt that you have to somehow repay by hitting the treadmill. We have to stop saying things like, oh, I need to burn that off, or you can have dessert if you go work out. Those messages totally disconnect eating from our natural hunger cues and plant some deep, deep-seated shame. Now let's get serious for section 4, spotting the warning signs and exactly when to seek prompt attention. As parents, look, we obviously want to stay calm and not overreact to normal teenage insecurities. But we also absolutely must recognize when a situation requires prompt clinical attention. You cannot wait for some dramatic movie-level weight loss before you ask for professional support. Please pay close attention to these red flags. If you're seeing rapid or unexplained weight changes, if they're frequently skipping meals or fasting, if you notice signs of binging or purging or compulsive secretive exercise, like, working out in their bedroom late at night or pushing through literal injuries, or if they're showing severe, paralyzing distress about their body shape, you need to seek appropriately qualified professional help immediately, no waiting around. And let me make this explicitly clear. Eating disorders can happen at any body size and to children of every gender. Do not fall into that old, dangerous trap of assuming eating disorders only happen to thin girls. To help you keep an eye on things without turning into an overbearing helicopter parent, our source material suggests something called a 7-day trigger and behavior audit. Think of it like a mental worksheet. For just 1 week, silently observe their patterns. Notice the trigger. Was it a social media video, maybe a sports weigh-in? Then look at the behavior. Did they skip breakfast the next day or suddenly invent a bunch of strict food rules? And finally, watch the emotional aftermath. Are they suddenly withdrawn or super anxious? The absolute keyword here is silent. Silent observation. Please do not secretly weigh your child or anxiously stare at every single bite they put in their mouth. That is only going to create a super tense, highly anxious environment for everyone. Just casually track the patterns in your head, so if you do need to talk to a pediatrician, you actually have some real data to share. And that brings us to our final takeaway today. The ultimate goal here isn't to promise your kids some magical weight loss fix, nor is it to completely ban the word health from your house. No, the real goal is to protect their natural growth, get them evidence-based care when real medical concerns actually pop up, and to make sure they always, always feel safe and loved no matter their size. So I'll leave you with this thought to really chew on. How can you adjust your own language today to make sure your child's body never becomes a family verdict? Really think about that next time you all sit down at the kitchen table. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll see you next time.